The biker never thought twice before lifting his boot. If he had known what that single kick would unleash, how it would turn a quiet spring afternoon into a moment. The entire country would soon be watching. He might have walked away. But arrogance has a way of blinding people. And that blindness was about to cost him everything. I share news stories here every day, and I would really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and liked my video. Now let's jump back into my story. I'm sure you'll love it if you keep listening till the end. It was the kind of day Americans love: warm sun, open cafes, motorcycles rumbling like distant thunder down a city boulevard. The sidewalks were busy with laughter, clinking coffee cups, and the low hum of everyday life. No one expected violence. No one expected fear. At the edge of the sidewalk sat Lily in her wheelchair, gently rolling herself forward with small, careful movements. Beside her walked a large German shepherd, calm and alert, his golden brown coat catching the sunlight. Every few steps, the dog glanced at her, watchful, protective, steady. Write in the comments and tell me which part of the world you're watching this story from. I'm really interested to see how far this story has traveled. To strangers, they looked ordinary. To anyone who really knew them, they were inseparable. Lily reached down and ran her fingers through the dog's fur. "Good boy," she whispered. The shepherd's tail moved slowly, his ears twitching at every sound around them. He was relaxed but never careless. Her mother had stepped into a nearby cafe to grab drinks. "Just a minute," she'd said. That minute changed everything. The sound came first, loud, aggressive. 5 motorcycles roared in at once, engines growling as they parked hard along the curb. Leather jackets, heavy boots, tattoos that told stories no one wanted to hear. People instinctively looked away. The German shepherd didn't. His posture shifted instantly. Head higher, muscles tight, tail stiff. His eyes locked onto the bikers as if counting them, measuring distance, reading intent. Lily felt it immediately. The tension. "It's okay," she whispered, resting her hand on his neck. "They're just loud." But the dog didn't relax. One of the bikers noticed. A tall man with a gray beard and a crooked grin leaned back against his bike. "Well, look at that," he said loudly. "A guard dog babysitting a little princess." Laughter followed. Deep, cruel, careless. Lily shrank slightly in her seat, fingers tightening around the armrests. "Please," she said softly. "He's a good dog." That only made it worse. A good dog. The man mocked, turning to his friends. "You hear that? The mutt's a hero." Another biker snorted. "Maybe he pushes the wheelchair too." More laughter. The German shepherd stepped forward just enough to place his body between Lily and the men. A low growl rolled from his chest. Not loud, not wild, controlled. Warning. The laughter faltered for half a second, then returned, louder. "Oh," the bearded man said, eyes lighting up. "You got attitude." He took a step closer. Someone nearby whispered, "This isn't good." A man at a cafe table stood halfway up, then froze, his wife gripping his arm. "Don't," she whispered. "They're dangerous." The biker crouched slightly, staring into the dog's eyes. "What are you going to do, huh? Protect your princess." The shepherd barked once, sharp, commanding. Final dot. Several people flinched. That bark didn't come from fear. It came from training. A man sitting alone at a corner table looked up sharply. His eyes narrowed. His coffee went untouched. "That's not a regular dog," he muttered under his breath. The biker laughed again. "Relax, people. It's just a joke." Then he moved closer, too close. Lily's voice trembled. "Please stop." The biker didn't. He lifted his boot, and in one cruel, careless motion, he kicked the German shepherd. Square in the chest, the sound echoed, a sickening thud The dog crashed backward onto the pavement. The cafe gasped. A cup shattered. Someone screamed. Lily screamed louder. REX. The shepherd lay still for half a second. Then his head lifted, and in his eyes through the pain. Through the shock burned something far more dangerous than anger. Focus, purpose, and the silent promise of a protector who had just been pushed too far. For a split second, the entire street forgot how to breathe. Rex lay on the pavement where the biker's boot had sent him. Chest heaving, paws scraping slightly as he fought through the shock. Pain flashed through his body, but pain was familiar. He'd felt worse before. Much worse. What mattered now wasn't the ache in his ribs. It was Lily. Her scream tore through the air, raw and desperate. Rex, please, please get up. That sound cut deeper than the kick ever could. Rex lifted his head fully now. His ears twitched. His eyes, sharp, amber, disciplined, locked onto the man standing over him. There was no panic in that gaze. No confusion. Just calculation. The bikers laughed again. But it sounded different this time. Forced, uncertain. Told you, the bearded biker said, brushing imaginary dust from his boot. All bark. No bite. But the crowd didn't laugh with him. Phones were already up. Hands trembled as people recorded. Sensing instinctively that something irreversible had just happened, Rex pushed himself onto his feet, slowly, deliberately, no wild lunging, no frantic barking. He stood tall, shoulders squared, pain buried under discipline. A deep, relentless growl rolled from his chest, vibrating through the concrete beneath him. It wasn't rage, it was a warning. The biker's grin flickered. Just for a moment, Lily tried to roll forward, her hands shaking too badly to grip the rims of her wheelchair. "Don't hurt him," she cried. "Please." He didn't do anything. Rex shifted slightly, just enough to block her again. Protect, shield. Guard, a man at the cafe, stood up fully now. "Hey, back off." He shouted. Another voice joined in. "You kicked a dog." The bearded biker turned, sneering. "Mind your business." That's when the man from the corner table moved. Mark Jensen rose to his feet with the quiet certainty of someone who had walked into danger before and survived it. His eyes never left Rex, not the bikers. Rex, the stance, the breathing, the restraint. Mark's jaw tightened. "Canine," he murmured. "Retired, but not forgotten." Rex took one step forward. The growl deepened. The biker stepped back without realizing it, and that alone told the crowd everything. "Oh hell," someone whispered. "That dog's trained." One of the bikers muttered. "Duke, maybe we should shut up," Duke snapped. Pride flared hot in his chest. Cameras were everywhere now. He could feel them. Smell humiliation creeping in. Rex's muscles coiled. Mark moved fast. "Everybody, stay back," he commanded, his voice cutting through the chaos with authority that demanded obedience. He stepped between the crowd and the confrontation. One hand raised, not at Duke, at Rex. "Sit," Mark said calmly. For a heartbeat. No one believed what they were about to see. Then Rex sat, perfectly, back straight, chest lifted. Eyes still locked on Duke. Gasps rippled through the crowd. That dog just took a command. Someone said. Duke's confidence cracked. "What the hell is this?" Mark didn't look at him. "You need to leave. Right now." Duke scoffed, but his voice wavered. "You think I'm scared of a dog?" Mark finally turned to face him. His eyes were cold. "No, I think you're scared of what that dog represents." Rex didn't move, didn't blink, didn't break. Lily reached out, her fingers brushing Rex's fur. "Good boy," she whispered through tears. "Please don't get hurt." Duke clenched his fists. The laughter was gone now. His friends had taken half steps back. The street felt smaller, tighter. He needed control back. That's when he made his second mistake. He lunged not at Rex, at Lily. Just a fake move. A scare tactic, but Rex didn't wait. In a blur of motion, the German Shepherd exploded forward, not wildly, not blindly, but with terrifying precision. His jaws clamped onto Duke's jacket sleeve as his weight drove the biker hard onto the pavement. Duke hit the ground with a grunt. Rex held him there, firm, controlled, unyielding. He's not biting. Someone shouted. He's holding him. Mark was already moving. Rex release. Instantly, Rex let go. He backed away. Returned to Lily's side, sat like nothing had happened. The street erupted gasps. Shouting disbelief. Duke lay on the ground, stunned not from pain, but from realization. This wasn't a pet. This was a protector, and the sirens in the distance were getting closer. The sirens grew louder, slicing through the stunned silence like a blade. Red and blue lights flashed at the far end of the street, reflecting off chrome motorcycles and cafe windows. The crowd shifted instinctively, parting as if an invisible line had been drawn. Phones stayed raised. No one wanted to miss what came next. Duke pushed himself up on his elbows, face flushed with rage and disbelief. "That dog attacked me," he barked, scrambling to his feet. "You all saw it." A dozen voices answered at once. "You kicked him first." "He went for the kid." "That dog saved her." Rex sat beside Lily's wheelchair, posture perfect, breathing steady. If anyone hadn't seen the moment unfold, they'd never guess he'd just taken down a grown man. His eyes followed Duke, calm, watchful, waiting. Mark stepped forward again, placing himself between Lily and the biker. "Enough," he said quietly, but the authority in his voice carried. "You don't get to rewrite what just happened," Duke sneered. "And who are you supposed to be?" Mark didn't flinch. He reached into his jacket and produced a worn badge wallet. "Retired K-9 Division," he said. "And that dog," he nodded toward Rex, "is trained." That word rippled through the crowd. Trained, a murmur spread like wildfire. "Police dog." "No way. Did you see how he moved?" Lily's mother burst out of the cafe. Then panic etched across her face. "Lily," she rushed to her daughter, dropping to her knees. "Oh my God, are you hurt?" Lily shook her head, tears streaking her cheeks. "Rex protected me," she whispered. Her mother's eyes lifted to the German Shepherd. For a moment, her composure cracked. "He always does," she said softly. Duke scoffed, but the sound rang hollow. "So what? You saying I deserved it?" Mark's gaze hardened. "You kicked a service-trained animal guarding a child. You escalated." He restrained. Duke laughed, sharp and nervous. "He knocked me flat." "And he could have done worse," Mark replied. "He didn't. That's the difference." The first patrol car screeched to a stop. Two officers stepped out, hands near their belts, scanning faces, bikes, phones, the dog. The second car pulled in behind them. "What's going on?" one officer demanded. Duke opened his mouth, but the crowd beat him to it. "He kicked the dog. That dog's trained. We have it on video." A man stepped forward, holding out his phone. From the first kick to the takedown, the officers exchanged a look. One crouched slightly, studying Rex's posture. The way he sat aligned with Lily's chair. The stillness that spoke of control rather than fear. "Sir," the officer said to Mark, "you said this dog's trained." "Yes," Mark replied. "Retired K-9. The officer nodded once. "That explains it." Duke's face drained of color. "You've got to be kidding me." The officer turned to him. "Did you kick the dog?" Duke hesitated. Cameras closed in. Silence pressed down. I didn't know, he muttered. I thought it was just some kid's pet. That doesn't make it okay, the officer said sharply. Lily's mother stood now, voice shaking but strong. My husband was a police officer, she said. That dog was his partner. The street went quiet. Even Duke stopped breathing. Mark's voice softened. Officer Daniel Carter, K-9 Division. Recognition flickered across one officer's face. Carter, warehouse raid. Mark nodded. Saved 3 officers. Rex took a hit and went back in. Lily swallowed, pride shining through her fear. Daddy said Rex was a hero. The word hung there. Hero. Duke looked at the dog again, really looked this time. The scars beneath the fur. The eyes that didn't hate him, didn't challenge him, didn't gloat. They judged. The officers straightened. Sir, one said to Duke, turn around. Duke's bravado finally shattered. Weight come on the cuffs clicked shut. The crowd exhaled in a wave. Some cheered. Others just stared. Shaken. Rex didn't move. He stayed right where he was, beside Lily until the danger was gone. But as Duke was led away, he twisted back once, eyes locked on the German shepherd. The look wasn't anger anymore. It was fear. Because for the first time, he understood something far worse than pain. He had crossed a line he could never undo. The patrol cars pulled away slowly, their lights fading down the boulevard, but the tension they left behind didn't disappear. It lingered in the air, heavy and electric, like the city itself was still trying to process what had just happened. Rex finally shifted, lowering himself beside Lily's wheelchair. Only then did his breathing begin to slow. Lily's hands trembled as she buried her fingers in his fur. You're okay, she whispered, more to herself than to him. You're okay. Mark knelt beside them, his voice calm but gentle. He handled that exactly how he was trained, he said. Textbook restraint. Lily's mother wiped her eyes, taking a deep breath. I knew he'd protect her, she said quietly. I just never thought. Not like this. Around them, the crowd buzzed, whispers turning into excited voices, disbelief shifting into awe. People replayed clips on their phones, gasping as if seeing it for the first time all over again. Did you see how fast he moved? He didn't even bite him. That dog knew exactly what he was doing. Within minutes, the video was everywhere. A teenager shouted from across the street, staring at his screen. This already has thousands of views. Someone else laughed nervously. Man, the internet's gonna eat this alive. They were right. By the time Lily and her mother reached home, notifications were exploding. News alerts. Messages from strangers. Clips reposted with captions like, Biker instantly regrets kicking the wrong dog. And Hero Canine protects disabled girl. Lily watched from the couch as Rex lay at her feet, head resting against her leg. On the TV, a news anchor spoke with dramatic urgency. Experts confirmed the dog's response showed advanced police canine training, emphasizing restraint rather than aggression. Lily's eyes widened. Mom, she whispered, pointing. That's Rex. Her mother smiled through tears. Yes, honey. That's him. Phones rang non-stop. Old colleagues called Mark, voices full of disbelief and pride. That dog still's got it. One laughed. You see how clean that takedown was? Mark shook his head slowly, a faint smile tugging at his lips. Heroes don't retire, he said, by morning. The video had gone viral nationwide. Millions watched the moment Duke's boot struck Rex. Millions held their breath. Millions cheered when discipline overcame cruelty. Donations poured in for retired Canine South. Messages flooded Lily's inbox, people calling Rex a legend, a guardian, an inspiration. But not everyone was celebrating in a holding cell downtown. Duke sat on a metal bench, shoulders slumped, staring at the same footage looping on a small TV mounted to the wall. He watched himself laugh, watched himself kick, watched himself fall over and over. Each replay felt worse than the last. The commentators' voices cut deep. Experts say the biker's actions could have resulted in severe injury or worse, if not for the dog's remarkable control. Duke looked away, shame burning in his chest. For the first time, there was no crowd to impress, no laughter to hide behind, just truth. A guard paused outside the cell. "That dog showed more restraint than most people ever will," he said quietly. "You're lucky." The words followed Duke long after the guard walked away. 2 weeks passed. The chaos faded into something quieter, softer. Lily and Rex returned to the park, the place where life felt normal again. Leaves rustled in the breeze. Children laughed in the distance. For the first time in days, Lily smiled without fear. Then the sound came, a motorcycle low. Slow, hesitant. Mark stiffened instantly. The bike rolled to a stop near the path. The rider removed his helmet. It was Duke. Gasps rippled through the park. Phones rose instinctively. Rex stood, not aggressive, not afraid, just alert. Duke raised his hand slowly. "I'm not here to cause trouble," he said, voice stripped of arrogance. I needed to say something." He took a step closer and stopped, respecting the distance. "I was wrong," Duke said. "I saw that video 100 times in that cell. Every time, I hated myself more." Lily looked at Rex. Rex looked back at her. Then she spoke. "He forgave you," she said softly. "That's why he didn't hurt you." Duke swallowed hard, dropping to one knee. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Rex stepped forward and gently nudged Duke's hand with his nose. No growl, no bark. Just forgiveness. And in that moment, the man who had mocked a hero finally understood what real strength looked like. The park seemed to hold its breath. Duke stayed on one knee, head bowed, hands resting on his thighs like he wasn't sure he deserved to stand. Rex remained in front of him, calm and steady, tail still. Eyes searching, not judging, just reading. Lily watched closely. Her heart was beating fast, but not with fear this time. It was something else, curiosity. "Hope you don't have to be scared," she said quietly, her small voice carrying farther than anyone expected. "Rex only protects people. He doesn't hurt people who are sorry." Duke looked up at her then, really looked. Not at the wheelchair, not at the cameras gathering at the edge of the park. At her eyes, clear, honest, unafraid. "I wasn't a good person that day," he said hoarsely. "I thought strength meant being loud, being feared." He swallowed. "I was wrong." Mark stood a few steps back, watching closely. He'd seen apologies before, some real, most empty. This one felt different. Not because of the words, because of the silence between them. Rex took another step forward and sat. Perfect posture. Calm breath. Trust. Duke let out a shaky laugh. "Even now," he said, "he's in control." Mark nodded. "That's discipline. And heart." Word of Duke's visit spread quickly. A few people whispered. Others recorded quietly. No one interrupted. Everyone understood this wasn't a spectacle anymore. It was a reckoning. "I don't expect forgiveness," Duke said, rising slowly. "I just couldn't carry this without saying it out loud." He reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope, holding it out to Lily's mother. "I donated everything I had left from my bike club account. For retired K9 South. For dogs like Rex." Her hands trembled as she took it. "You didn't have to. I did," Duke said simply. Rex watched him closely, ears twitching. Then, as if making a decision of his own. The German Shepherd leaned forward and pressed his forehead gently against Duke's leg. A collective gasp swept the park. Duke froze. He's okay with me," he whispered. Lily smiled. "That means you've passed." Something in Duke's face broke open then. He turned away quickly, wiping his eyes. "Thank you," he said. "All of you." He stepped back, put his helmet on, and walked to his bike, not roaring away. Not posturing, just leaving quietly. The park exhaled. Life moved forward. Weeks later, Rex stood on a small stage outside a police precinct. Cameras flashed. Officers lined up in dress uniform. A banner read, "Honoring service beyond duty." Lily sat front and center, hands folded, eyes shining. Mark cleared his throat. Rex served with honor. He protected without hatred. And even in retirement, he reminded us what courage really looks like. A medal was placed gently around Rex's neck. The crowd stood. Applause thundered. Rex didn't bark. He didn't bow. He simply looked for Lillian when he found her. His tail wagged once. That was enough. That night, Lily lay in bed, Rex curled beside her. She traced the edge of the medal with her finger. "Daddy would be so proud," she whispered. Rex sighed softly, resting his chin on her pillow. Across town, Duke sat alone in his apartment. The viral video playing quietly on his phone, not the kick this time, but the apology. Comments scrolled past. People can change. That dog saved 2 lives. Forgiveness is power. Duke turned off the screen and stared at the wall, finally understanding something he'd never learned on the road. Strength isn't about intimidation, it's about restraint. The next morning, Lily and Rex returned to the park. The same path, the same bench. But something felt different. Lighter, Rex trotted ahead, free, confident. His work done. Lily watched him with a smile. The world had tried to break them. It failed. The park was quiet that morning. The kind of quiet that feels earned. Sunlight filtered through the trees, casting long shadows across the path as Lily rolled her wheelchair forward, Rex walking proudly beside her. His medal glinted softly against his chest, but he didn't seem to notice it. To Rex, nothing had changed. Lily was still Lily. His job was still the same. Protect, stay. Love. Mark sat on the familiar bench with a cup of coffee, watching them approach. "Looks like fame didn't go to his head," he said with a smile. Lily laughed. "He still steals my socks." Rex's ears twitched at his name. He glanced back at Lily, tail wagging once, as if guilty. Across the country, the story continued to ripple outward. Schools invited Lily to speak. Police departments shared Rex's video during training sessions, pointing out the precision, the restraint, the humanity in his response. Veterans wrote letters thanking Rex for reminding them of the bond they once shared with their partners, but Lily didn't see any of that. What she saw was the dog, who waited patiently while she tied her shoes. The dog who slept on the floor beside her bed every night. The dog who nudged her hand when she felt scared. Her hero was simple, and that was enough. One afternoon, small boy approached the park bench, his mother hovering nervously behind him. "Is that the dog?" The boy asked, eyes wide. "The one from the video." Lily nodded. "This is Rex." The boy hesitated. "Is he scary?" Rex lowered himself to the ground, tail thumping gently. "No," Lily said with a grin. "He's brave." The boy reached out and patted Rex's head. His smile was immediate. "I want to be brave like him." Mark watched from a distance, heart full. He'd spent decades chasing danger, training dogs to face the worst humanity had to offer. And here, in the simplest moment, he saw the real victory, not the takedown, not the medal, not the applause, the inspiration. Across town, Duke stood outside a small community center, staring at the sign. Volunteers welcome. He took a breath and stepped inside. "Can I help?" he asked. The woman at the desk looked up, surprised. "Sure," she said. "We're always looking for people who want to make things right." Duke nodded. "So am I." Weeks turned into months. The video stopped trending. News stories took its place. But the impact remained at the Carter home. A framed photo hung on the wall. Rex standing beside Lily, metal shining, both of them smiling. Beneath it, a simple plaque read, "Loyalty is strength on a quiet evening." Lily wheeled herself onto the porch, Rex following closely. Fireflies blinked in the yard. The world felt safe again. "Do you think Daddy saw what you did?" she asked softly. Rex rested his head on her knee. "I think he did," Mark said from the doorway. "And I think he'd say the same thing I will." Lily looked up. "What?" "That your dog didn't just protect you," Mark said. "He reminded all of us who we're supposed to be." Rex lifted his head. Ears perked, as if listening. Somewhere in the distance, a motorcycle passed, not loud, not threatening, just another sound in a healed world. Lily smiled and scratched Rex behind the ears. "Guess what?" she whispered. "You changed everything." Rex closed his eyes. Heroes don't always wear badges. They don't always bark. They don't always fight. Sometimes they forgive. And sometimes they walk quietly beside the ones they love, proving that the strongest hearts are the ones that choose restraint over rage and compassion over cruelty. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Lily and Rex sat together, framed by golden light. The camera would pull back slowly, leaving them small against the vast sky. Not because they were insignificant, but because their story was bigger than them now. The NDF, this story moved you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, real heroes don't seek attention. They simply show up when it matters most. If you like this story, hit subscribe and like my video. I share news stories every day.